Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be recording my second episode of Real Talk with Krystal, my new podcast. If you tuned in last week and watched the first video, thank you so much for listening to some of my story and for being here with me. Today, I'm going to be diving into love and relationships and my advice around them based on my life experience. I'm trying to keep these podcasts under half an hour, so I'll try to sum it up in that time frame. Again, if you want more videos like this, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you enjoy these podcast episodes like this, and if you have any ideas for topics you would love to see me dive into, also let me know in the comments. And to continue watching, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. So let's begin. Hello, my loves, and welcome to the second episode of Real Talk with Krystal. I am really enjoying this already. It's only the second episode, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, more so than I actually thought I would. So I have been hesitant about diving into the topic of love and relationships, which is kind of funny because I get asked more about this topic than anything else on my platforms. And to be honest, I didn't dive into these topics too much. I've kind of shied away from them because of the fact that I haven't settled down. I'm not married, and I haven't, manifested my king. I don't want to say permanent king. You never know what happens in life, but I haven't manifested him at this time in my life. But today I realize that that's pretty silly because I personally have experienced the depths of love and loss more so than anyone I've actually ever met in this lifetime. I've been engaged to be married a few times, and I've left those engagements as gracefully as possible. I learned a lot from them. I have been in heavily abusive relationships, two very abusive relationships, and I found my way out of them and out of that cycle of abuse and released trauma and abandonment issues that I had very heavily, and finally got to the point, which was a very big journey, to only accepting epic love unions that really make me feel like a goddess. Two partners of mine, if you followed my story, you may know this, died unexpectedly. Very suddenly and very unexpectedly, very much feeding my fear of abandonment. And after both of those deaths, I spent years on my own really exploring the depths of my heart and my purpose in this lifetime. Really, like, why am I here and what do I want? And all of those big universal questions when you lose someone like that, young and unexpectedly, it really makes you question a lot. So I've really been exploring different spiritual paths and different paths in relationships and unions as well. Of course, I'm a Tantra teacher. I've helped a lot of relationships heal. I've helped a lot of relationships have amazing sex, which I love to hear. And I've strengthened a lot of relationships just through my clients. So it's funny that I've shied away from this. But yeah, I'm going to start sharing more about it. So if you want to hear more about it, do let me know in the comments and the feedback. And I think a really big part of me being, I don't want to say an expert in this topic, but I think a big part of it that stands out to people is the fact that I've learned how to be comfortable on my own, and not only comfortable, but like very well pleased and happy and fulfilled and all of the things on my own. I've really learned how to enjoy my own company and myself. I've cultivated this very deep, loving, fulfilling relationship with myself, and I truly don't mind waiting for my king. I know that he's coming. Maybe he'll be here in a week, and maybe he'll be here in 5 years. I am not giving into the pressures that society puts on me that I'm in a certain time frame to find him. I know he's coming, and I'm patiently waiting. And I think there's a certain strength in that, being able to stand on your own and not be seeking out relationships. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm 32. I would love to have a child, but if it doesn't work out that way, it's not something that I absolutely need in this lifetime. For some women, it is something that they need. So you are kind of in a time frame for that. Well, you definitely are. So there's that aspect. But I'm very much in the flow and in the trust that the universe is bringing everything to me exactly when it's meant to be. So with all that being said, I'm now going to share with you 7 deep lessons in love that I have learned in the past 15 years of dating and loving and losing and loving again. So, number 1 is pretty simple. And really, this applies to all relationships, I believe. Your first impression of someone is probably correct. I am saying this through so much experience of meeting people and having this first instinct about them, and then logically changing it around and saying different stories, even fitting them into this ideal version that I want them to be, and ignoring that first instinct. If you have experience against this where you thought something different of someone and they turned out to be differently, please do let me know. But at this point in my life, my intuition and my first instinct of someone has never been incorrect. And it's all about learning how to listen to that and also honoring it. So maybe if you're on a date with someone and you have this first impression, but then you're like, yeah, but he has this and they have this and they also have this. And maybe if I just focus on these things, I ignore this red flag, or I ignore this thing, or I ignore what I initially thought in the first few moments of meeting someone, we have this human instinct and, internal intuition, inner knowing, whatever you want to call it, for a reason. It's to protect us. It's in a way for survival. Everything kind of comes back to survival. So there's a purpose for it. I had to really, really learn how to honor my intuition while traveling. That was one of my biggest lessons traveling, because the moments that I didn't, and I did that little thing where I turned the red flags into green flags, I'm sure many of you can relate, something has happened where I've either got very hurt emotionally, been in a really, toxic relationship or position, whether it was a lover or a friendship, or I even was in potentially dangerous situations because I ignored that first instinct. So this first number 1 is really honor your inner knowing. I deeply believe that our heart always knows the way. So know that you are strong enough to wait for someone, to wait for your person, rather than trying to make someone else into that. Number 2 is to break the rules in love. Definitely. Really question what the social norm is. I just really say fuck the social norm of what love is in relationships, because it's outdated. It's not serving us. It's really messed up, and it's just not working for us, realistically. An example of this recently that just happened last week, actually, was one of my followers, a woman I've talked to for on and off for a few years. I just think she's wonderful. And she wrote me, and she's just so distraught. She's on a break with her partner. She's been on a break with this, great lover of hers. She loves him so much. I've seen them together for years. They're very young. They're in their early 20s. Young for a serious relationship like this, I believe. So they've been together for these years. She went away for 6 months and he cheated. And then he told her as soon as she got back, as soon as he was in person, because he wanted to tell her in person. Her instinct was to stay and to work through things with him, and she believes that they can grow stronger from it, and she can forgive him, and they can work through all of the things. But then her mom and her sister are so against it, telling her, no, you need to leave him. I can't believe he's a cheater. He's always going to be a cheater. These stories that we get caught up on about people, and that just aren't serving us, because if someone cheats once, that doesn't mean they're always a cheater. 110%. I have seen it firsthand. So let's try not to get caught in these limiting beliefs about people. People never change. A lot of people don't change. But if they're really willing to show up, and you can see the difference and see they genuinely want to for themselves, not because they're just trying to get you to stay, there's a difference. So I told her, I've absolutely forgiven people for cheating who have been honest about it. And that's not a deal breaker for me when there's honesty involved. But if it's a deal breaker for you, then you need to honor that. And for her, it's not either. But she just fell into what other people are telling her. And she's just heartbroken. She wants to be with him. She wants to work through things. And the moment I told her that, hey, listen, I've been in this position too. And I think that if it feels right for you, you should work through things. She just needed that permission that she can make her own rules in her relationship. And then she was empowered. Now they're back together and, you know, they look great. They're working through it and I'm really happy for them. This is just one example of not giving into the pressures of family, society, like our fucking view. I'm sorry, I'm going to be swearing on this podcast when I get passionate, so I hope you don't mind. But our view of what a relationship and what a marriage is supposed to be in society is just so off. Like, I can just go off about this topic. I'm not going to because I want to keep these podcasts semi-short and sweet and just full of juiciness for you. So firstly, know your boundaries. Get very, very clear on your boundaries and your deal breakers and learn how to respect them, honor them. If cheating like once is a deal breaker for you, you absolutely, like, that's okay. That's a deal breaker for you. So really learn how to honor that. If someone cheats and then they're honest about it, that's not a deal breaker for you, then honor that too. If you want an open relationship and you truly, truly want that, honor that. Wait for someone who is willing to work through that. Open relationships, I'll just say now, are not easy. I've tried them. But be with someone who's willing to show up and who wants to go on that journey with you. And if at some point in your relationship you don't want an open relationship, don't make yourself do it. Like, go with the ebbs and flows of your relationship. Create your own path. And the couple that can do that together and really make their own rules and honor whatever's coming up at that time in the relationship for both partners, it's going to have a fucking amazing, fulfilling relationship. Not the ones that are listening to their moms or their, you know, sisters, or listening to society, what's right and what's wrong. Like, listen to your own heart. Again, your heart always knows. Like, your heart does know. Sit with your heart. Listen to your heart. Get clear on your boundaries. Get clear on your deal breakers and know what you're willing to work through and what you're not, and just create it along the way with your lover. Number 3 is learn to let go, which is not an easy topic or advice at all. And I realize that, and I know that. I honestly believe that the hardest thing that we have to learn as humans is to let go. I'm not sure why that is, but it's a big lesson for us. For some reason, our souls need to learn how to let go. I mentioned I had major, major abandonment issues from my childhood. I was a wreck when I was younger, going through breakups. Seriously, you don't even want to know. And over time, I've really worked on that. And now I'm able to let people go with the most love and grace as I possibly can. And I'm so proud of that because it took me a long way to really step back from my emotions and that feeling of like having this, you know, Band-Aid just ripped off, or whatever the saying is, like, you know, just having it ripped off of me and going into a panic because it's triggering my childhood trauma. Like, it's been a big journey for me. Losing loved ones, my partners that I was planning a life with, really, of course, fed my abandonment issues. It was really hard. But I'm here to share that it's possible to get better at letting go. Like, it definitely is. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. You know, I had siblings run away from home when we were young, and they were like my heroes when I was younger. I was 8, and from there, I just, it was like deep, deep trauma inside of me. It's still always there. Childhood trauma that's come from even past lifetimes may always be there, but it's learning how to control it and manage it. You know, don't stay in a relationship because you're comfortable, because you're scared to be alone. Learn how to let go when it's time to let go. Learn how to really see when it's time to let go. And learn how to be really honest with yourself. Why am I staying? And again, it doesn't mean it's easy, but trust me, it's worth it and it's possible. So read some books on letting go, practice it yourself, learn how to step back from your emotions, and really learn how to trust that your person is out there for you. Maybe multiple people are out there. It's not just like this one person is the end all be all, right? And we tend to make people that, but that's just not the case. Number 4, I personally don't believe that we should jump into marriage. You know, when marriage first became a thing, it existed for land rights, basically. But what you don't hear a lot about is that the life expectancy back then was literally 25 to 30 years old. So there's a reason why there was child brides. There's a reason why people had to figure their lives out as a teenager and really jump on it, because my age, I wouldn't even be here. And being single at this age would be insane back then, because you just, you know, you didn't experience all that life. You didn't have children. People were trying to reproduce. Like we don't really need that anymore. There's so much, again, belief systems around relationships that's so outdated in our society now. Back then, like 50 years old was ancient. Now, saying this, I don't want to sound like I'm like some Grinch about relationships, because there are exceptions of people who go to school together, even elementary school, high school, and just know right away off the bat, this is my person, and they stay together. And that's absolutely fabulous. And I'm really proud of them. That's really beautiful. I know a couple people like that. Not many though, because it is the exception. But this more applies to those who are in their 20s feeling pressured to get married and start a life. If you feel it's right for you, 100% do it. But if you're looking for someone and feeling this pressure and it doesn't feel natural for you, my best advice is to, and this isn't just people in their 20s, like you could be divorced, you know, in your late 40s, and still, like, how well do you know yourself? How much of life have you explored and experienced? I feel like people are just rushing in, and then there's a lot of divorces happening because later on they figure out who they are and what they actually want, and they haven't explored and they want to explore, and their partners are not okay with them exploring that. So I really just want everyone to explore and experience life on their own as well as in a relationship, rather than just giving into this pressure. I'm not doing it. I refuse to give into it. So, and I want that for you too. Of course, again, women are on kind of a timeline. If you want to start a family, I get that pressure. Having a family is something you really want, and say you're in your early 20s listening to this, go explore and figure out exactly what you want before you call it in. You know what you want in a relationship for sure, and experience life on your own. Know how to be on your own first. So 5, put the effort into your relationship. Like, really put the effort in. I don't see anyone like my friends are all, you know, they're like having their best lives and their best relationships. It's so nice to see them doing that. And they're just in these epic love unions. And I'm like, yeah, I'm celebrating them because I know I'm going to have that too. Rather than being like, when's this coming for me, you know, and sitting in this lack. I'm like, yes, I'm celebrating your love. I feel your love, and I know that I'm calling it in too, and it feels so good. But really, why do you want to be mediocre? Why would you want a mediocre relationship? Like, there's so many mediocre relationships. Why? Like, fuck that. Go all out. Treat your lover like a fucking god or goddess. Keep the flame alive, do romantic things, get sexy lingerie, dance for your partner, bring them on amazing vacations, like figure it out. Even if you have kids, even if you're disconnected, put the effort in. Why settle in any area of life? I honestly believe that the purpose of this existence is to experience one another. So when you're in this beautiful relationship, love union, why would you choose to have a mediocre one? Coming together in this sacred union is the most beautiful thing that we can do. It's the most spiritual thing that we can do, because we're literally experiencing our own existence, ourselves, our true nature within another. We're being these beautiful mirrors, embodiments of Shiva and Shakti. That's not dependent on gender. Being these beautiful embodiments of the universe. And how deeply can you experience the universe through this other being? And how beautiful is it that they're here in this life, like walking through this life, taking this journey with you, willing to. That is epic in itself. So don't be lazy in your relationships. Go all out. Really put the effort in. And you can create this with 2 willing partners. Your partner doesn't have to be like a supermodel and all these things, like, you know, whatever, like all of these crazy things. They just need to be willing, and you need to be willing. And with 2 willing partners, you can create the most beautiful love union and reach higher states of consciousness through each other. And isn't that what it's all about? Why would you just choose to have this mediocre relationship, disconnected? And if this person's not showing up for you, again, that might just not be your person. You deserve an epic love. You deserve a love that fulfills you. You deserve a love that chooses you and that keeps showing up for you again and again. Number 6 is be honest. And this is a huge thing for me because for me being honest here, I think the one reason I'm single is that I expect honesty from my partners. And holy shit, it's very hard to find honest people in this lifetime. Really. I know we all have little white lies and that's human. I've had to accept that. I'm just a very naturally raw and honest person. I've had to accept that, okay, everyone lies a little bit. I get it. Again, looking in society, everyone's lying to each other. And okay, maybe I'm like cynical because I used to be a stripper and I've been in the around the sex industry for years, and I see a lot of men cheating. And that was kind of my introduction into being single in the adult world, was a lot of men cheating. So I'm definitely realistic because I've been around it a lot. And I just see how the structure of what a marriage and what a relationship in society today, the expectations of it and what's the norm, it's just not working for us. And a lot of it is based around lies. I think when we're lying to our partners, we're also lying to ourselves on some level. And could you imagine just for a moment what our society would be if people were honest with themselves and honest with their partners? I'm not just saying that. Actually take a moment and imagine. Like if you were truly owning all parts of yourself in your relationship, then you would be owning it within yourself too. And could you imagine what our world would be if people were actually accepting themselves as they are? Let's love at those depths. Honesty is so scary. I know that. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's messy. I know it brings hurt. But I believe that not being honest is causing more hurt in the long run and collectively. So can we love at those depths? Those really messy, raw, real depths. And as we learn to accept our lovers there, we accept ourselves. And I don't know about you, but I want to find my person, and that's the person who will look at me in all of my insecurities, my deepest desires, my naughtiest fantasies, my complete messiness, ugliness, rawness, and still look at me and say, I choose you. And you deserve that as well. I think we all deserve that kind of love. And if your partner, if your lover isn't willing to be there through it all and to see you as you and truly choose you, then I'm sorry to say, but that might not be your person. And that's okay. Not everyone is able to love at those depths. But if you're not, what's the point? What's the point? Like, do you really just want to stay on this superficial level? Or do you really want to experience another human? Do you want to be lying to the person that you're sleeping next to every night? Or do you want to look into their eyes and be like, this is me. Thank you for allowing me to show up and loving me here. And let's have this honest relationship. Like, that's what I want. And it takes courage to show up and be honest about who you are. But I know it's possible. And maybe this is scary for you to even think about, but you can take little steps. Because if you are being with someone who's not accepting parts of you, then the person that will accept those parts and love the shit out of you is out there in the world somewhere. And wouldn't you want that for yourself rather than something surface level that isn't real? That's a big one. Okay, so the last one, number 7. Originally I had 6, but I just put this in because it's a bit of a bonus one. And I'm kind of already getting at this. I really don't want you to settle. Like, don't settle. Have your epic love. Again, really learn when it's time to let go and honor that. But I believe when something's not serving you and you know you're settling and this is just a mediocre relationship, why are you staying together? Because it's comfortable, because it's safe, it's what you're used to. You deserve more than that. I really want you to know you deserve a love greater than that, and so does your partner. And it's not the easiest thing to hear, but I want epic loves for all of us. So have the courage to let go when it's time. And with that being said, we live in this instant gratification nation, society, where we can also leave partnerships too soon. The second we see someone's, darkness or shadows, we're like, okay, see ya. I've had people do that to me and it really hurts. And it's like, wow, that person really isn't ready for a deeper relationship. And then I haven't really been on dating apps, but I did try one just recently and I was like, holy moly, of course these people just leave me like that because they can just jump and swipe through 100 different women. I don't think that's healthy. I think it's great. I know a lot of people who have met their long-term partners. Both of my siblings met their long-term partners on a dating site. So I know it's great in that way. But just not giving into that, oh, well, this didn't work out. This person's not perfect. They're showing a part of themselves I don't like. Now I'm just going to go see someone else. Just all in all, don't settle for a life that doesn't make you feel alive. Don't settle for a life that doesn't make you feel alive. I have to say it twice. Don't settle in love. Don't settle in any areas. And I'm a strong believer that when you're settling in one area, you're settling in others. If having the best relationship, the best career, just having the best in whatever you desire is an option, and it absolutely is, why wouldn't you choose that for yourself? Why would you settle? And that's something to reflect on. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you so much. I know I just threw a lot at you. I really hope that it helped. Know that you deserve it all. That's it. That sums it up. You deserve it all, my love. You deserve a life that makes you feel alive. So I love you. I hope you have a beautiful day or evening wherever in the world you are right now. And I hope you tune in next week. I love making these podcasts for you. It's been a lot of fun so far. And yeah, thank you for being here with me. And to my YouTube family, thank you so much for tuning in again. I really hope this episode was helpful, and I will see you again next week. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.